the most important aspect is WOC oration. Professor TKS WOC oration. So this year, this is going to be delivered by Professor K.H. Sancheti. And we are thankful to him because we gave him too little a time, but still he agreed to deliver at such a short notice. And you will hear a lifetime work from Professor K.H. Sancheti. I'll request Dr. Rajashekharan to introduce this.
Good morning to all of you. It's my proud privilege to welcome Professor Sancheti, sir, and also talk to you briefly about the origin of this oration. Now, as you would know, WOC is a different organization which not only, it's an integral part of CCOT, it not only looks at the academic aspect of orthopedics, but more importantly, it looks at orthopedic delivery to the needy. And commensurate with these ideals, 5 years before we started the WOC, Professor TK's oration, in honor of Professor TK Shanmugasundaram, who was the backbone of this organization for many number of years in our country. I think it is only because of his great interest, enthusiasm, that many of us got involved in the World Orthopedic Association. And Professor Shanmugasundaram had close to his heart that not only you should be a good orthopedic surgeon, but your knowledge and expertise must reach the needy. And on that goal, we have always been inviting very eminent people in our country to give the oration during the IOACON every year. We have had 5 distinguished orators so far. The first was Professor Thuli, and subsequently we have had Professor Lord, Professor Yadav, Professor Taneja, and Dr. Shekhar Bojraj from Mumbai. So all of them have spoken on a topic not only related to orthopedics, but more about how your expertise will reach the needy. And this year, we are extremely proud and privileged to have Professor Sancheti with us, who is a beacon for orthopedics in our country. We can, sir, it is just not by strange coincidence or mere coincidence that he is the only orthopedic surgeon who has been awarded Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Vibhushan, and this is a matter of honor for him. So it is not only a pride for medicine, but also a great pride for the orthopedic community as a whole. So this year, he is going to talk to us on his life, his principles, his philosophies, and I'm sure that this will be a great moment of hearing for us. So I hand over the mic to Professor Sancheti, and before that, can I request our President of the Indian Orthopedic Association, Dr. Maria, to hand over this plaque in honor of this award, please. Anybody has got a good camera here? Camera?
My mentor, respected Dr. Shailendra Bhattacharya, Dr. Rajashekharan, Dr. Anil. How can I forget your name, Dr. Shantaram Shetty, my another friend, Adol, and what not I can say, and the rest of my colleagues to whom I am meeting for years together, and not less than others, Dr. Maria, who has been kind enough to come and give me this stage. And I'm happy that you are here and you are also listening. My dear friends, I'm grateful to Dr. Anil and Dr. Rajshekharan for giving me this unique opportunity to talk on no case and chip. My journey from polio camp surgery to joint designing, lessons learned. Dr. Shanmukh Sundaram was a good friend of ours, all of us know. Very dedicated person, having the best qualifications which one can have, and yet think for the poor man. Was a former consultant orthopedic surgeon, emeritus professor of orthopedic surgery, Madras Medical College. Red Cross Society chairmanship does tell us how a human being should be and how one can work for the people. And that's why he was chairman of the Indian Red Cross Society, chairman of the International Bone and Joint Tuberculosis. In our early practice, tuberculosis was very much rampant, as you know, and therefore he worked for that and did a lot of basic work to how to eradicate and minimize the problems of tuberculosis in India. He was former president of the Indian Orthopedic Surgeon, former president of World Orthopedic Concern, member of the a lot of national and international professional organizations, delivered several prestigious awards, and author of 8 books and over 100 papers. When I went through him and when I knew and when he used to talk, he used to say always, the life is a fascinating journey. Maybe I can sit and talk? Hello. Yes. What I learned from him is life is a fascinating journey, and right from childhood, that was very much time Dr. Shanmukh Sundaram used to tell me, and life is full of opportunities and challenges. We cannot choose our parents, however, but we can use their values and teachings to make our life meaningful. I was born in a middle class family, had to struggle for everything. My father had a food grain shop where I learned the values of the life. Let me tell you in a few seconds, then I was selling grains to the customer. And when the balance was coming down with improper food, improper grains, he will slap on my hand and tell, wait, put some more grains, let the balance come in the center, and then give it. Because he said, customer, because of him, I feed you, I teach you, don't dish him. And that particular sentence of mine, of slap on the hand, reminds me every day in my whole life, and same principles I'm following to treat my patients as a God, treat patients, what we say, grahak daivat bano. Treat the patients as a God and look after them, because of them you are there. The values taught to me by my parents on this contest are being honest and ethical. Be humble, because if you are humble, then and then you can approach anyone, learn more. And another important, he told me, unless until your humility cannot be appreciated by others, unless and until you reach to the top. And that are the double benefits of you being humble and the humility, that you are approachable, you can approach anyone, and after reaching something in life, your humbleness will be appreciated like anything by your colleagues. hard work. Do you know I am born, what is 24 upon 7? On 24th of July, 24th of 7th month. And right from my day of birth, I am tied to do hard work. You know, I am average in brain, but I have learned from my mother the hard work, and because of that hard work, I could come up and compensate for whatever deficiencies are in my life. Because of that, I am always positive, always optimistic, and always working for the middle class people. Let me share one example with you. In my childhood, my mother had to undergo a hysterectomy in 1995, and the subsidized charges were 250 rupees. Even that we could not offer. And that made me to work and inspired me to work for the middle and lower class, as Dr. Srimukh Sundaram has preached to us throughout his life, right from all through of his days. I did my MS Orthopedics. I did, the examination was in October 65, result was in November, and on 12th December, I started my practice. I had to start. I had 100 rupees in my pocket, and the only capital I had is the values which I inculcated from my parents. With this, I started my practice, and everyone has to grow, because to grow is a natural process, and if we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead. And that was my father's teaching to me. And then I decided what should be my vision and mission. My adults were there. Dr. Banu Koyaji, she was a gynecologist at that time, and she had a huge big KEM hospital in Pune. And Dr. Grand, what Dr. Grand used to do, he used to every Saturday, Sunday, go all over Maharashtra, go and do consultation and conduct some camps. So these two people imbibed in me that you should have, as Rajshekharan said yesterday, a big institute at your disposal, which I learned from Banu Koyaji, and reaching the public was really useful to develop my practice further. Then, after listening to them, observing them, I decided to grow by community service. And this, fortunately, has proved to the best way to work for the middle and poor cause. In the early 1970s, there was a huge prevalence of polio in rural area. I identified this problem and single-handedly organized free diagnostics and operative camps to take the medical treatment to the doorstep of the poor and needy in the rural area was the need of the day. What I used to do, I will catch hold of some VIPs in this area, some local organizations, and involve them, project them. And I used to remain behind and conduct camps and give them a lot of importance so that they can do the follow-up of the patients, to spend money. Some of the rich people, business people from the area could spend money for their travel from their village to Pune, and that was my practice, and that I used to do very frequently. There was this was the situation, no roads, lot of polio patients moving here and there, and then awareness gradually started. Polio vaccination already started. Some of the village areas were so remote that even the postman could not reach there, but we did conduct camps in such areas, diagnostic camps of course, to motivate them and let them know that their children can have better life. And then healthcare delivery was taken by me to the doorstep of the patients. There is not a single place in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, where I have not visited, not conducted a camp, and that was my routine. I used to go in the rural areas. Look at this picture in the corner. One Englishman, he was Norman Acton, who was the president of International Rehabilitation Organization. He saw my work and then informed the government, this particular hospital is such an important work. After recommendation from that fellow, only government of Maharashtra then took interest and then started helping me to organize this camp. Till that time, it was not being recognized by the government. Thanks to Norman Acton, who has created that awareness and help from the government to me. I did a lot of camps. This is a small summary of the camps which I did. Free camps were organized at that time for polio and handicapped children, 437. Children with disabilities were examined, 1,10,000. I preserved all the duplicate case papers. I used to make a triplicate case paper. One case paper for me, one case paper for the patient, and third copy for the local organizer. And then I will write down the name of the local organizer, and I used to keep them one copy with them. And with that, I started my work. Then children were requiring operations were 12,150, and some other children together. I have done with my own hands more than 12,000 free operations. Calipers required were 20,000, and they were all provided calipers free of charge. All these operations were free of charge. Calipers were given free of charge, and this was the benefit to the people, to the public. My father used to tell me always, when you help others, you are also benefited more. And here I want to tell you how I was benefited by helping others. Number one, I improved my surgical skill. You know, I was so much involved in my other activities, development of the hospital. So academically, I was not very strong. But in surgical skill, I was so good that nobody can match me. Even once doctor from Singapore, Kamal Bose, he came, and one of the polio operations, 90 degrees flexion deformity in a Anandpur camp. You were there also. You were there. Anil Jain was there in that camp. Well, Kamal Bose was there. 90 degrees flexion deformity was corrected by me in the camp, and the whole leg was straight, and he was amazed. He is their witness to tell you all that how he was happy. So that was my big asset, that I developed a good surgical skill. Then data and observations which I kept, I presented to Pune University, and I got PhD for that. And I am the person having PhD from the Pune University in rehabilitation. Not only that, the government recognized this word in 1991, awarded me Padma Shri. And these are the benefits, but much bigger and more benefit was by the research. What is that? May I tell you? You know, in 1980, government wanted to promote research. And for that, they made a clause, section 35(2)(a), that those institutions who will do research, they will get 133% income tax deduction. The tax rate was 77%. And because of this, I went, my nature is go and approach and even struggle, meet with this man, that man. So I collected all my data, went to the government, Revenue Department, Government of India, presented them the data, and that was given, they gave me the recognition of section 35(2)(a) because my hospital is run by the Public Charitable Trust. Let me tell you, sir, I was the first person in India to get this exemption of section 35(2)(a), and lot of people on their own, Bhartiya Cutler Hamel Company from Delhi, they on their own donated 50 lakhs rupees that time. Some of the industrialists, Rahul Bajaj, some sweet merchant Chitale and others, gave me, I could get plenty of money. Because of that, what I can do, I can construct a center for various advanced orthopedic surgeries, that is in Pune. The building on the right side is 100,000 square feet area. This is about 50,000 square feet area, and about today it started with 7,500 beds. Today it is 200 bedded orthopedic center. Sanchit, is that give me further impetus to get it recognized for postgraduate training. I went to the government, then I got hospital recognized as a teaching complex to the BZ Medical College, and in 1974, my hospital was recognized as for the MS Orthopedics, Diploma in Orthopedics. Subsequently, I found that we need a physiotherapy to our patients, so I got our hospital recognized for graduate and postgraduate studies in physiotherapy, then recognized for by Pune University, Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, and also by Medical Council of India. Let me tell you, Manipal was the deemed university. After Manipal, again in private, to get private hospital recognized for MS Orthopedics, mine is the first one, and nowadays, unfortunately, I don't know why they are not recognizing other hospitals. Well, this created alumni. More than 300 ortho surgeons have been trained by our hospital. They come together, there's a big tie, and that's why we are propagating the knowledge my work was recognized by also for FRCS, and not only for that, the International Award for Medical Excellence was given to me by Harvard Harvard Medical School. 300 different hospitals were examined by them, and luckily they selected our hospital, selected that how I am coupled together the community service and a hospital with postgraduate education, physiotherapy, and in totality the service to the patient, and that was being recognized and honored. Government of India in 2003 recognized this work and also honored me Padma Bhushan. By that time the polio got over, and then I thought, how can I continue my community services? I shifted from pediatric to geriatric, from polio to arthritis, started conducting camps, creating awareness in the old people, and then I used to conduct camps for the arthritic patients. Go to the area, and then you can find here, lot of people used to come forward, they will stand in the queue, come for examination. However, the difference was, here in the polio, I can do the surgery at periphery, small cottage hospitals, but knee replacement I cannot do there. They have to come to the Pune center, and there I could do the knee replacement and other work. See, these are the few slides for that. The camps conducted were overall, see, about so many camps are conducted, and the still work that is going on. In the camp I found osteoarthritis was the most common, as everybody know, and most of they were in advanced stage. In rural area, you find a lot of severe deformed cases suitable, and they were suitable for joint replacement surgery, but joint replacement joints available were expensive, imported, and that gave me impetus that let me work for the indigenous joint so that I can give them at a reasonable cost. And some of the free patients, some of the patients who can't afford even the cost of the implant, I would go to the understylists, collect money from them, buy the joint and give them free of charge. Therefore, why should we go look for the West every time? I thought, let me design myself, and indigenous knee. I started to design the indigenous knee at the age of 65. And believe me, even today, I go to the hospital at 6:15, and the whole day I enjoy working, and full of energy and pleasure that gives me, all because of my work, community work I started from the polio in my early ages. Then I studied the kinematics of the knee, what are the knee natural, what is the requirement of the artificial, analyzing drawbacks of the current prosthesis, and studying anthropometry to decide the sizes of the various things. Then I established a design. I thought I should go for posterior stabilized, a monoblock, because backside wear was the great problem, and sizes, femur 10 sizes, tibia 20 sizes, and believe me, I learned how to make the drawings, and I learned how to read the engineering drawings. I myself I got AutoCAD in my hospital. I can make the drawings myself on AutoCAD, and then I could go further. Why I had to do that? Because there were technological constraints. There were no research facilities, no labs for testing. I had to go to San Diego to get my all tests done. Then no scientists or engineers who are there in Zimmer and DP companies to help them. I had to do everything myself. Therefore, I went and visited all the manufacturing companies in the world, learned from them, and then I studied Indian demography, anthropometry, and I proceeded further. Nobody was ready to help me in manufacturing, because all they wanted a big quantity. That was the point, and therefore what I thought, my ability was, my strength was ability to do, desire, attitude, and willingness to prepare to win. With this, what I said, in the hospital there is a basement. I purchased all this equipment, CNC, 5-axis CNC. If the Ravi is here, I was the first person in orthopedic industry to buy 5-axis CNC machine with spindle speed of 17,500, and then I learned, got the engineers, and started manufacturing the implant in my basement of the hospital basement. And that's how then this here is a girl which on the right side, and the morning and evening she will work in the workshop, in the afternoon she will work in the theatre, and my people around me, they got involved, they got motivated. And here all the boys and etc. you see who's polishing the implant, they were the theatre boys. So I had a combined effect of both of them, and that's how I proceeded further. Then I found oxidation was a main problem, lot of papers were coming. So how to remove the air from the polyethylene? So I learned, I went, purchased, I saw, and purchased vacuum creating machine. Again, I am the first in the orthopedic industry in front of Ravi. If here you can vouch and say, to create a vacuum packing, I was the first. You can ask Ravi, the first to do the vacuum packing in the orthopedic industry. This was all because of my desire to grow and desire to do something new, different for the middle class and poor people. Here is the index joint, and it is not only economical to the Indian patient, but has been designed with respect to anatomy and native structure of the bone up to 135 degrees with complete stability by virtue of its unique feature of cam and post. I worked a lot on the cam and post, and I copied the good points from all the designs. And then former President of India, Pratibha Patil, released it for the nation, and it got wide publicity, and I got the patent for the same, and Anil was kind enough to accept the publication of this. And today, to say, a lot of hurdles, but no hurdle is large enough to stop a dream from coming reality. After achieving success, I feel designing a joint is possible with little hard work and willingness to prepare the win. This was my comment I can say at the end. I must thank Nandu Lad and Chit Ranawat for helping me, motivating me to design the joint, and giving me timely feedback and valuable advice. The mission still continues. I still conduct now. Parag has taken over, and he conducts the camps, but we go to the rural area. We are conducting the camps which are started in 1970, along with innovations required, modifications required. A lot of other modifications we have done because of short of time. I don't want to go into that. And again, I am thankful to the Government of India for recognizing this continued work, not stopping after getting one recognition, not stopping after getting second recognition. And in 2012, Government of India decorated me with Padma Vibhushan Award. Now I am working on the hip with the help of CGCRI, Central Institute of Glass and Ceramic Ware, to develop an indigenous hip for ceramic. The stem is a tri-contact stem. These all are again designed, used in some of the patient. Trials are going on. While doing all that, I learned a lot of lessons. I thought, can I share them to the younger generation? They are, as told by Rajshekhar yesterday, enhance what you have, positive competition, because you cannot climb somebody's shoulder and climb up, because if you sit down, you will fall. So always avoid negative competition. Passion. You must have passion for anything you do, because if you have passion, it reduces stress and reduces the fatigue and enhances your energy. Focus on your branch. Don't multitask. Improve your knowledge and skill to compare with yourself and improve. Don't compare with others. Compare what you were yesterday. And people, as you rightly said, they get tired. Some student of mine said, sir, I am tired because I am sitting the same college's fracture for last 10 years. I said, how can you tired? I am not tired at the age of 50 years of my practice. I want to innovate every time. What better way I can reduce the fracture? What different way I can do it? How more comfort I can give to my patient? That desire to improve keeps you alive, active, and then you don't get tired. Don't sell your conscience for little less money, as told by Rajshekhar yesterday. It is not worth. Definitely not worth. Conscience is the ultimate. Don't sell your conscience and do anything. You will not get a peaceful sleep today. And if you get today, definitely not tomorrow. I am sure this is an observation which is not wrong. Again, I said, Rajshekhar, no shortcuts for anything in life. If you use shortcut, you will get deceived, ditched. you will lose the way. Always use the natural way. Then hard work, again you told yesterday, balance and smart is the only way to succeed in life. Hard work, balance and smart is the only way to success in life. I'm sure Dr. Shanmukh Sundaram must be observing and listening to us from the heaven. I want to ask him, are you Dr. Shanmukh Sundaram? Am I following your principles? Are you happy with whatever I have done? I'm sure your interest in the common poor man and your preaching, your idol to us has motivated me to do this work, and that's why I bow down to him. And why I again bow down to him? He was the best medical teacher. He used to like teaching, and therefore I inculcated that habit from him. And I also like teaching. Anybody comes to us, I teach wholeheartedly, openly, whatever I know, I teach them. Then he was a great academician, a disciplinary, and humanitarian, the best of it, living guide to role model. And I'm sure Dr. Sundaram will be happy to dedicate my work to this legendary late Dr. T.K. Shanmukh Sundaram. I thank you very much for your conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much indeed. And I think I fully agree and believe that great people do not do different things, but they do things differently. Well, I think every one of you must be keen to ask and keen to interact with him. I think let's keep few minutes on that, and anyone if wants to ask and say something, then yeah.
Sure, please. Yes.
What is the secret of your youth? Secret of your energy, and apart from Bonvita, what is the secret of your...
Honestly speaking...
Sex appeal.
Honestly speaking, I enjoy my work. Let me tell you honestly, I am more fresh in the evening than in the morning, because the whole day's work gives me immense satisfaction, and that keeps me working. And young. And number two, I take care of my health. I get up at 4 o'clock, do exercises for hour and a half, right from brain to heart to joint and limbs and posture. You can honor the appointment is the first activity in the day. And that's why I do it as a first activity, and that keeps me fit and energetic.
How many hours do you sleep?
6 hours by clock. If I go to the party, by 10 o'clock I come home, and maximum 10:15 time I am in the bed. I just don't remain awake, and I can share with you, I left alcohol for that also. And the things come, when you want to go to home early, read, then alcohol was keeping for a long time. And I thought, Rajshekhar is not taking, why should I take? So that makes changes, that brings changes in you, within you. Suddenly I thought, let me leave it. And I don't take, and I don't miss it.
Sir, I am Dr. A. John from Kochi.
Ji.
I was your student in Pune,
Thank you.
in BJ Medical College between 72 and 74. I always remember the Wednesday night clinics which you conduct in your hospital.
Yes.
It goes up to midnight, 1 o'clock.
Right,
and we used to have food in somewhere there in some cafeteria. And go.
Yes.
I think when I came back to India in 1981, I had some telepathic message probably from you. And I also started doing free work for the polio patients and all those things. And I am continuing it. Last year, I completed 1,000 free operations for these children.
Wow.
And there was a big assembly of these children. And as you told, many of my children, they have become big business people. Many of them are very good engineers, and they are all bank officers, bank managers. They were all crawling. They were all crawling. We could make them to stand on their own.
Yeah.
And I still continue, sir.
Yes.
I am so much proud of you. I was not knowing you are conducting these free operations, but I do. This year also, I conducted a camp. I have got 70 members. Every year, 50, 60, 70, I do freely. And I have already completed so many. Now, every year I am doing 70, 60, 70 like that. Now, the patients are cerebral palsy.
Yes. From polio to cerebral palsy, yes.
So, thank you very much, Sun.
Thank you.
And you are a Kohinoor.
Any questions to Professor Sancheti, please?
Some comments.
Yes.
Yeah. Short comments, sir,
Well,
and then we can.
When there was a first orthopedic conference in Pune, your hospital was 10-bedded hospital.
Yes. Yeah.
We visited your place,
I recollect that. Small place.
and your success, Mrs. Your wife, I have met her several times. One wonderful wife you have got who has always helped you.
Yes. I forgot to mention that. I should have mentioned.
I was going to ring up and complain to her.
I thought it was improper, but I tell you, every she used to get my Sunday every 5th month, because 5th month, every 4th month, there will be 5 Sundays in a month. So 4 Sundays I used to go for a camp.
Now you have got another hand, that is Parag is there.
Yes. God has been great.
2 stalwarts by the side from outside, Ranavat and Dr.
Lad, yes.
Is
Yeah.
that true or not?
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I would think, as I told yesterday, I used to wonder why every textbook you take when you're in medical college, they always say, my grateful thanks to wife. I used to think, why all of them are only thanking the wife when you're a student and you don't have a wife. But after you have a wife, you know it matters so much how they are.
I should have mentioned, but because of short of time. But her contribution to me, I owe all my Padma awards to her. It's in the heart. Her contribution, she never demanded, even she never asked me a single gold ornament from me. Such a nice and wonderful companion for me. You have seen her, you have met.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a great pleasure to have had you here and with us. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can. Let's. So we have one more small issue. The ever-present controversy of whether industry controls surgeons or surgeons control industry. Now there is a growing feeling amongst all of us that there is more than normal or more than required interference of industry and influence on the surgeons. And there is enough proof for this also. In the recent publication in Spine, where they conducted a comparison between industry-sponsored research and self-sponsored research, they found that there was 98% positive results favoring the industry in industry-sponsored research, and only 18% positive results when the funding was not coming from industry. So that is a major problem. And like in many of the other talks that I have given, there is very ample proof where some of the big companies like Pfizer and Medtronic have colluded with surgeons to produce false results and false data, which brings about lots of millions of dollars of profit for the industry. The other worrying thing for the surgeons is that most of the education nowadays is industry sponsored. For example, in Australia, they found that 94% of all educational programs are controlled and managed by the industry. So in our country also we are going slowly towards that way, because after your post-graduation, your only source for education is conferences and CMEs and workshops, and there is a heavy tilt of balance towards industry-sponsored research, industry-sponsored education, industry-sponsored continuing medical education. So there is a big problem and we need to address this. And we have had many times surgeons talking to us. So we would like to hear the cat on the other side. I mean, maybe an angel on the other side also, not only a cat. So I would like to invite Ravi. Ravi is a known face to all of us, and Shushruth is one of the best Indian companies that we have. coming from a very, very reputed family who have dedicated themselves to the production of very standard and quality processes. They have been successful in taking us away from total dependence on the Western industry. And if you can say which is the first most best Indian industry that comes to the mind, I mean, all of us would say Shushruth. And so it's only natural that we like to hear the point. What do you say? Are you an angel or devil?
That depends on you. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajshekaran. I am truly honored and privileged to be in the middle of so many luminaries of Indian orthopedics. And I also realize I have to tread very carefully with this ticking time bomb that Raja has kept in my hands. So I am sure Dr. Rajshekaran and Dr. Anil Jain are watching with great interest after placing this ticking time bomb in my hands. So first I would like to thank you, gentlemen. Sincere thanks for giving me a subject where my opponent is so scared that he hasn't turned up. So I was supposed to speak after him. Advantages to me. Does industry influence treatment? That is the question of the day, and I am supposed to speak against the motion. And the key word in this sentence, the loaded word, is influence. And why this loaded word of influence? Because every time we think of influence, we think of negative things. Right? It's an obvious negative bias, and it's all this negativity which has been pushed onto me to defend. When we think of influence, we think of all these bad things. Of things happening under the table, or about this poor passive orthopedic surgeon who is being spoon-fed by industry. And the question is, does industry influence treatment? But gentlemen, I submit to you that there may be another question to consider. Does industry influence progress? So what would the situation have been without any industry influence at all in the last 30, 40 years? For one, without industry influence, my good friends here might still have been struggling to compress fractures and enable timely union, may have been competing with alternative medicine and the bone setters of Puttur to achieve efficacy of outcomes, and plating might not have been the standard treatment that we accept it as today. Hip stems would still have been breaking, and for all you know, total hip replacement as a procedure might have been abandoned as not a viable procedure. My good friend who's run away from this debate may still have been fixing the spine with DCP plates and cortical screws and would have been rather unhappy, if I may add. And Harrington rods may have been state of the art for deformity correction. Without strong industry-led support, we all might still have been relying on a fixed angle Jewett nail or Smith-Peterson pins for proximal femoral fractures and facing all those attendant problems that go with these old implants. And bone tumor patients might have had amputation as their best option for a quality of life. Influence of industry and technology on orthopedic practice has been considered very important, so much so that the AAOS in a symposium in 2005 debated not on whether technology needs to be introduced into orthopedic practice, but rather on how it should be done. Now we all know that a lot of innovation and a lot of development in medical devices and orthopedics has originated in the United States of America. And the US has been a large market for orthopedic devices. How large, really? The US hip and knee market in 2010 was reputed to be $13 billion, which is a mind-boggling 72,600 crores of rupees. This has so many zeros that even I can't count. This compares with a small, measly Indian market size of 800 crores for all of orthopedics, trauma, joint replacement, and spine in 2013. Uncomparable mosquito in front of that huge elephant. What about pricing? Average US selling prices for joint replacement devices have been about 6 to 8 times the prices we know of in India. And for spine, prices on spine implants are about 8 times prices we see in India. In the case of trauma devices like nails, plates, and hip pins, prices are many multiples over the prices that we are familiar with in India. It's a fact that this astronomical market and very high prices have fueled leadership of the US in device development and innovation. This device development innovation has come about through strong, very strong industry-surgeon collaboration, where surgeons have played a key role in defining problems, evaluating solutions, identifying what needs to be improved, providing feedback, publishing clinical literature, and participating in surgeon training. And industry, on the other hand, has focused on design, prototyping, development, testing, validation, regulatory, commercialization, and so on. All this wonderful collaboration has been good and very good for development. But like everything good, there has been a dark side. And this dark side of influence was defined very clearly for the first time in a debate in the American Academy in 2006, where they defined different types of interactions between surgeons and industry and identified those interactions which are causing harm. And in this debate, they brought out some very interesting points, and I quote, "The situation that is most disturbing is the type 4 interaction, in which the physician is benefiting financially in exchange for the use of a device. A company, in an effort to increase business, may pay surgeons who actually do not provide services that justify the compensation. And among the most damaging of these factors are perceptions of personal financial gain by the decision maker, such as accusations of performing surgery for lucrative reimbursements or demanding kickbacks from orthopedic device manufacturers in exchange for using their devices. Unfortunately, these unhealthy practices have been fueled in one of the largest markets of the world, driven and supported by high reimbursement levels and high prices, and have led to a total healthcare cost in the US which is higher than India's entire GDP for the year 2013. $2.3 trillion is the US healthcare budget. And it has got our good friend, gentleman, Mr. Obama, President of the US, worried enough to try and push Obamacare. And the kind of resistance that he is facing in the US is something known to all of us. This is a system that is difficult to change. However, as far as industry is concerned in the US, led by Department of Justice inquiries, there has been a lot of voluntary compliance actions which the American industry has taken in this front to try and eliminate these practices. And it is now known from the Department of Justice in the US that they are now moving to American surgeons to try and curb unhealthy practices. What about India? In India, the absence or the limited reimbursement levels and the situation of many patients paying out of pocket for treatment costs, perhaps, this is food for thought, may have been an automatic cost control and an automatic control over these factors. We in this country today have a strong opportunity to not follow the same path. We have the opportunity to promote surgeon-industry interaction focused only on development and progress and to arrest these unhealthy trends, to try and gain the benefits and stay away from the dark side. To summarize, influence is essential to progress. It needs to be done in a healthy manner to achieve a balance, focus on contributing to growth of the science, leading to clinical advancement and better outcomes, and not the unhealthy side of influence. I thank you very much for your attention.
Anybody wants to ask Ravi anything?
Congratulations for your nice presentation. A comment that you forgot to mention, arthroscopy as a totally industry-driven innovation couldn't have been possible without your field support.
Point taken.
A question again, if somebody has an idea, all of us, how would he interact with you to make it practical?
Just get in touch and we will listen. Industry and any company is a business that is driven by business requirements. Today we are part of a much larger organization which is Smith & Nephew, which you probably know, which is a fully public company. 97% of the company is owned by the public. So companies like this are responsible to their shareholders for ensuring that whatever actions the company takes eventually would put the company in a profitable situation and would not be negative. So every idea, every project needs to be assessed and evaluated, which is done by people who know, for whether this idea has the potential and the investment and time and effort that needs to be invested, would there be a return which would keep a plus at the end of the effort. So this is an inevitable process. This does not mean that any idea is good or bad. It only means the idea has to stand the test of being able to be commercialized in a profitable manner. And that would be a basic essential requirement, because industry has to function and has to keep stakeholders and the public happy to make sure that you can continue remaining a viable business. So every idea would be listened to, understood, evaluated, but this would always be a factor.
What percentage of your profit or whatever in your budget do you have it for research grants, and if so, the universities and the hospitals for a research can they get, because through various other agencies we do get it would be worthwhile trying this.
I don't think in India any companies are
No,
being
that's why I'm
grants to the universities.
He's in the big group. So
I will respond. I think I shared with you the differential situation in both market size and in end market prices. And we in India, when we were Sushruta Adler, to be very, very honest with you, the luxury of making the investments that we need to make in research and development was really not there. I'll give you the simplest example. I could not afford to recruit a postgraduate from IIT, because I'm competing with aerospace, I'm competing with automobile, I'm competing with giant US companies who are paying very large salaries, and the size of our business would not allow this to happen. Now it's right, we are part of a larger group. However, what's very interesting to know is why has Smith & Nephew acquired Sushruta Adler? Smith & Nephew has not acquired Sushruta Adler because they wanted a factory in India. They have acquired Sushruta Adler because at the senior most levels in the company they believe that small companies like ours have found a different way to do things in a cost-effective manner. And while they are interested in supporting and pushing this process with resources and help, they are also very careful, and this is stated by the CEO within the company, to not adversely affect the cost structures and the methods that we have evolved over time. So, does the company want to engage with academics and universities? It's a very clearly stated goal. How exactly it would translate, at the moment even I don't know, because the actual transaction has taken place last month, and now over the next 4 to 6 months, there's a lot of engagement planned within the organization to work together on these areas and to find out how we can do things. But I think I can assure you, I know from what I know so far, this is an organization committed to working closely with academics and with universities. So I hope that we will bring and translate these things into our country as well. So.
It is actually related to extramural grants, and that's what I was also going to comment and ask. In India, we do get at individual levels offers from companies to conduct, some comparison studies about their product and the other products in a blinded manner. But the procedure which we are following and which we are, the infrastructure, they do not provide the infrastructure, they just provide the fund. And ultimately what happens is it is like a ghost research. They just use the name of the institution and the research findings they have already concluded. So I think this is very, very important now, since you are interacting with a group through the scientific association, and I appeal to all the members also, that let us formulate some guidelines for translating that research at the institutional and the university level, so that the funding do not come to the individual, let it come through the institution.
Very good point. Thank you. I'll respond to that. I know for a fact that under compliance requirements now in all these companies, it is almost impossible for us to provide funding to an individual. There are guidelines. I have personally gone through compliance training in the company now. So there are guidelines. We cannot fund an individual. There would be an individual who would apply on behalf of an institution, but the funding would go to an institution only. This is one of the rules which has been put into place. So these kinds of practices have happened. Yeah, these practices are very firm within industry now. Industry cannot fund.
We cannot take anything directly.
But your point is well taken, and this is the situation.
this point which Ravi has asked. In fact, both are Ravis. For last 10 years, particularly pharma industry, they are keen to find out a place, find out the institution where there is not much ethical strictness and ethical consideration, and they choose, they will approach 5-7 institutions, but those people who insist on that give us the protocol, we'll correct it, we'll submit to our ethical committee and all that, so they will stop coming, and they will always choose 3-4 persons. And I myself has faced one of such situation where the persons after 2 months comes and tells me, sir, rest of the other places have completed, it's only your data existing. And then they are more interested in taking your data rather than taking your conclusions. Ram, would you like to,
Give me 5 minutes, I'll be happy.
please come.
He is not prepared.
No, the problem is, sir, I apologize that I'm late because I have bought my own ticket. I have not been provided by any vehicle by the industry.
Industry did not support you.
So I got a little bit delayed in coming from Delhi to this place.
You mean you are supporting, you are defending Ravi?
I won.
So I unfortunately
Well, I think that's the wrong beginning, because I thought that you will oppose Ravish.
Sir, you need to come here and raise my hand. Knockout.
Actually, it is not possible to have now individual grants. No, you have to have ethical clearance. Until that's the WOC institution is involved in corruption, then you can have individual grants. Otherwise, it is not possible. Ethical clearance is must. The second is not only this industry. We should try to see ourselves that so many big hospitals, they make shareholders. But to talk about this, they give a target that you have to operate so many patients. They always give this. So that this is not only the industry, they are also
That is also industry. Those hospitals are also industry.
corporate hospital industry. We have to have.
You are absolutely right.
No, you are not the only person, I may tell you.
I want to make one point.
Sir.
You respond, you're very right. Can I just respond?
Actually, you just people they are what they are doing. In our place, I have suspended 14 doctors. Actually, what happened? They buy the car, then they will ask that the industry or the firm, they will pay their loan. But to talk of this, then they take loan and then the industry, they are, you can be paying back. So that is why this is not only industry, actually other firms also. So we have to see ourselves that where we are going. So actually only in industry, actually either you should say that they will not go to any institution, they will only help in the conferences. When we are enjoying drinks, dinner, 5-star facility, how we can refuse them? And actually, we have to be grateful, I may tell you. हम नमक हराम नहीं हो सकते. अगर मैं आपका नमक खाऊं and then I don't no sir, I will not do. No. Yeah, either we have to take. If you take money, if we enjoy hospitality, then we have to prescribe whether they are indicated or not.
Just to respond and make one small point. For a long time, a lot of these practices probably happened because decision making was in the hands of sales teams. Now, one of the compliance requirements is a sales team or a sales team member may propose something within an organization that here is a surgeon who is interested in some academic activity. But compliance requirements now require that from that point onwards, the sales team is